Who does Robert Pattinson play in the Odyssey? Antinous explained. Warning: this video contains spoilers for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and Homer's original epic poem. While the film adapts the ancient story for the big screen, this video explains Antinous' role in both the movie and the original mythology. Now, let's begin. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey features one of the biggest casts ever assembled. Matt Damon stars as Odysseus. Tom Holland plays Telemachus. Zendaya appears as Athena. Anne Hathaway portrays Penelope. And Robert Pattinson takes on one of the story's most unforgettable villains. When Nolan first announced Pattinson's casting, fans immediately began guessing who he would play. Some believed he was portraying Hermes. Others thought he might be another Greek king or one of Odysseus's loyal companions. But once the film arrived, the mystery was finally solved. Robert Pattinson plays Antinous, the leader of the suitors, the man who believes Odysseus is dead, the noble determined to seize the throne of Ithaca and force Queen Penelope to become his wife. Although Antinous never fights in the Trojan War, he becomes one of Odysseus's greatest enemies. Not because of dragons, not because of monsters, but because he threatens everything Odysseus spent 20 years trying to return home to. So who exactly is Antinous? Why is he considered one of the greatest villains in Greek mythology? And what happens when he finally comes face to face with Odysseus? Let's explain. Who is Antinous? Antinous is a wealthy nobleman from Ithaca. After Odysseus leaves for the Trojan War, years pass without any sign of the king returning home. First comes the 10-year war against Troy. Then another 10 years of dangerous voyages across the seas. For 20 years, Odysseus is gone. Many people assume he has died. Among them is Antinous. Believing Ithaca no longer has a king, Antinous sees an opportunity. If he can marry Penelope, he won't simply gain a wife. He'll gain the throne itself. In Homer's Odyssey, Antinous becomes the leader of more than 100 suitors who invade Odysseus's palace. They eat his food, drink his wine, waste his wealth, and pressure Penelope to choose a new husband. Why does Antinous want Penelope? For Antinous, Penelope represents power. She is still legally married to Odysseus. But after 2 decades with no king, many nobles believe it's time for Ithaca to move on. Antinous is the most aggressive of them all. He constantly demands that Penelope stop waiting for Odysseus and marry one of the suitors. His confidence grows because no one seems capable of stopping him. Odysseus is missing. The kingdom has no ruler, and Penelope refuses to choose a husband. To delay the decision, she famously promises to make her choice only after finishing a burial shroud for Odysseus's father, Laertes. Each day she weaves. Each night she secretly unravels her work. For years, the clever trick keeps the suitors waiting. Eventually, however, one of her servants reveals the truth. Penelope can no longer avoid making a decision. Antinous believes victory is finally within reach. Why is Antinous the main villain on Ithaca? Not every suitor is equally cruel. Some simply hope to marry the queen. Antinous goes much further. He openly insults the royal household. He mistreats Odysseus's servants. He mocks strangers. And when Telemachus begins searching for news of his missing father, Antinous secretly plots to have him ambushed and killed before he can return home. That moment reveals Antinous' true nature. He isn't just ambitious. He's willing to remove anyone standing between him and the throne. His arrogance makes him the undisputed leader of the suitors and the greatest threat inside Odysseus's own palace. Robert Pattinson's performance. Christopher Nolan presents Antinous as a charismatic yet deeply intimidating figure. Robert Pattinson brings confidence, arrogance, and unpredictability to the role. Instead of portraying a loud, reckless bully, he creates a villain who believes he has already won. By the time Odysseus finally returns to Ithaca, Antinous has spent years living inside the royal palace. He acts as though he already owns it. That quiet confidence makes him even more dangerous. Rather than relying on brute force alone, Pattinson's Antinous dominates every room through manipulation, authority, and absolute certainty that no one can challenge him. The beggar nobody recognizes. After years of wandering, Odysseus finally reaches Ithaca. But he doesn't reveal himself immediately. With Athena's help, he disguises himself as an old beggar. The disguise allows him to enter his own palace without being recognized. Inside, he witnesses exactly what Antinous and the other suitors have become. They mock him, insult him, and treat him as though he is worthless. Antinous even throws a stool at the disguised king, unaware that the poor stranger standing before him is the rightful ruler of Ithaca. The audience knows the truth. The suitors do not. And that dramatic irony builds tension until the story's unforgettable climax. The contest of the bow. Penelope announces one final challenge. Whoever can string Odysseus's legendary bow and fire an arrow through 12 axe heads will become her husband. One after another, the suitors try. None succeed. Even Antinous cannot string the bow. Then the old beggar asks for a chance. The room erupts with laughter. How could an old man accomplish what the strongest nobles could not? But the moment Odysseus takes the bow into his hands, everything changes. He strings it effortlessly. Silence fills the hall. The beggar is no beggar. The king has returned. What happens to Antinous? In one of the most famous scenes in all of Greek mythology, Odysseus raises his bow and fires a single arrow. It strikes Antinous before he even realizes what is happening. The leader of the suitors falls first. Panic spreads through the great hall as the remaining suitors finally understand the truth. Odysseus has come home. The king they believe dead has returned to reclaim his kingdom. The battle that follows becomes one of the defining moments of Homer's Odyssey. It isn't simply about revenge. It's about restoring justice after years of betrayal, greed, and disrespect. Why Antinous matters. Antinous represents everything Odysseus has been fighting against. While monsters like Polyphemus, Scylla, and Charybdis challenge him during his journey, Antinous threatens something even more personal. His family, his home, his legacy. That is why Antinous serves as the story's final human antagonist. The greatest challenge isn't reaching Ithaca. It's reclaiming it. Without Antinous, the ending of the Odyssey would lose much of its emotional power. He gives Odysseus one final obstacle before his long journey can truly come to an end. Final thoughts. So, who does Robert Pattinson play in The Odyssey? He plays Antinous, the leader of the suitors and the primary villain waiting for Odysseus in Ithaca. Although he never fought in the Trojan War, Antinous becomes one of Odysseus's most dangerous enemies by trying to steal his throne, marry Penelope, and eliminate Telemachus. Robert Pattinson's performance brings new life to one of Greek mythology's most infamous antagonists, making Antinous a memorable part of Christopher Nolan's adaptation. What do you think? Did Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Antinous live up to the legendary villain from Homer's Odyssey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more The Odyssey explainers, Greek mythology stories, movie breakdowns, hidden details, and entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.